Alright, well, happy Wednesday morning to you all. Hump day. I have to go all the way out to San Antonio today to fix a network problem for one of my customers. And I figured, weather's nice. Might as well take a bike to do the job instead of sitting in a cage for 6 or 7 hours today. About 3 hours out there, 3 hours back. Roughly, depending on traffic and all that. But get a ride out of the deal, so hey, can't be all bad, right? What you doing there, fella?
Turn left on Autumn Terrace Lane.
So yesterday afternoon I started tearing into this bike. I haven't ridden it in a little while, and I had my old rock form mount up here on my nav plate. So I pulled it down and I thought, I'm just going to put a 1-inch ram ball in there and use my quad lock mounts, with the ball adapter and all that. But I couldn't find my ram ball that I've got 2 or 3 of them, little studs that fit into your mirror stems or whatever. I can't seem to locate them. So, oh well. So I'm just rocking the phone down here in the tank bag on a charging cable instead of up on the nav plate. But I did switch out my Garmin. I put my Zumo XT up here that I got recently for one of my other trips. And it looks good up there, works good. It's not centered up because I just used the original mounting holes for the other plate. I had to drill one more because this is a typical amps pattern, AMPS, which is the old American mobile product something. It's what the old cell phones back in the day, or mobile phones, car phones, used to use for their mounting dimension. Anyway, the original plate was amps vertical. This one is amps horizontal, so I just had to stretch a hole or two over and mounted that right on there. Works good. And it still leaves me room on this side if I want to put the phone and ram ball up there. So, just going to hit I-10 and head straight out to San Antonio. Weather's supposed to be pretty good today. It's low 60s right now. It's like 62, 63 degrees here. And it's supposed to be roughly the same weather in San Antonio today. High of around 85, 88, somewhere in that range. Clear skies. Perfect day to ride. So if I have to work, make the best of it. I even thought about strapping my panniers on here and hanging out in the park tonight over at Stephen F. Austin on my way back into town, but didn't really have time to grab the gear and do all that stuff. I decided to need to take care of business first. They were down all day yesterday due to an internet and network issue. And the internet issue seems to have sorted itself, but the internal network is still not talking. We don't know why. It doesn't make sense. The servers can talk, the firewall's alive, VPN tunnel is there. We can manage everything remotely, but none of the workstations can see anything. So I think what's happened is they've looped up a network port and got a broadcast storm condition where it's shutting everybody down, and the servers are able to talk because they're located there on the same switch. So let's see. Unfortunately, that's not one of those things that I can walk someone through over the phone. Too many little intricacies and nuances involved with that. Probably have to put a traffic sniffer on the network. See if I'm getting a bunch of broadcast react traffic, stuff like that. So Zumo shows my arrival time at 9:55 in the morning. I was hoping to get there around 9, but I'm a little bit late this morning. So get out there, sort that out. Probably wait to grab breakfast until I arrive out there, and do the job. See what the rest of the day holds for me. I'm coming back this evening, but I don't know if I'm going to goof off out there or not. Not really anything to do. Here's the road. Maybe 2.5 hours or so of this. So my CB500F project, I got a 2013 500F just like this, naked bike, or naked-ish. I bought that as an insurance salvage. Some unfortunate rider had dropped it off the side of the pavement and ragdolled it, and all the plastics were busted up, and the rear handguard holds were ground up and stuff like that. Handlebars were bent, everything. So I got it really cheap. $1,600. Only had 1,600 miles on it. Needed new plastics, new bars, and I went through it and I rode it. You know, I put 7,000 miles or so on it. And had some fun with it. Taught my son how to ride a motorcycle on that bike actually, and it's been all over the place. And we've taken it to Austin, and gone all around. But I noticed that the handling was a little funny on it. It had a kind of a weird tracking propensity. You know, you'd lean in and it was like the front end was bobbing and just not behaving quite right. So I figured that I had a bent fork leg. I never did pull the forks off of that to verify. But anyway, it ate the right leg oil seal on the fork and puked up all of its fork well onto the brake rotor, so obviously I couldn't ride it anymore. So it's been sitting in my garage for a while, and I tore the front end apart, pulled the forks apart, and I thought, okay, well, if I just need to put seals in it, that's no big deal, they're cheap. I went ahead and ordered a set of seals for it, and the bad news came when I pulled the fork stanchion and rolled it, and I could see it going whoop, whoop, whoop. So it had a pretty serious deflection in it. So I just decided to bite the bullet and go ahead and get new fork tubes. Well, I started searching around, and fork tubes for the 2013 and 14 are stupid expensive. They're like $300 a tube. And I was like, that's just crazy, man. And I don't want to replace just one, because if one's bent, the other one's probably a little bent too. So I need to get both. So I went searching Partzilla and Cheap Cycle Parts and Bike Bandit, everybody out there. And I stumbled on a little hack. Probably the community knows already. I didn't ever research this to find out, but I found out by looking at the part numbers. The 2016 and up had the adjustable suspension, but it uses the same fork lowers. The tube length is the same. Everything's the same. It's just different guts, different innards. So I started looking, and the tubes for the 16 and up are only like $77 each versus almost $300 for the 13. So I was like, well, that's crazy. So I started looking even further, and I can get the entire forks, the whole fork, you know, the whole left leg, whole right leg, complete assembly, lowers, seals, the whole shooting match, everything, for like $230, $240. Okay. Done. Sold. Take my money. So, you know, do that, just replace it with the 2016 forks, and you've got adjustable suspension. You know, not greatly adjustable, but better than the factory ones that have zero adjustment. So yeah, I could get essentially both front forks and a new rear shock, all from the 2016, for less than the cost of one complete right fork leg from the 13. It's just crazy. So, long story short, I ordered the left and right fork legs from the 16. I went ahead and went a different route for the rear shock. I'm going to convert the bike and do a GSXR 600, 750 shock on the rear. So I bought that stupid cheap, like 30 bucks off of eBay, brand new shock on them. So anyway, I ordered them from Bike Bandit like 6 weeks ago, and normally they're really fast, but every Monday they've been sending me a delayed shipment notice saying we're having trouble fulfilling and shipping your order, blah blah blah. So I've called Bike Bandit many times. I sat on hold dozens of times, never reach anybody, never get anyone on the phone. And I went searching their contact pages and support pages, and they said, you know, reach out to us on Instagram, it'll be faster. So I sent a couple messages to them on Instagram, and I finally heard back like the third day after leaving several messages. And they said, we'll submit your request to check on the order. Okay. What the hell does that mean? I've already got $500 and something of my money, almost 600 bucks. What do I do now? I'm ready to just order it from somewhere else so I can put that bike back together and get it able to be moved out of its spot that it's sitting in my garage to ride it. It'd be even more fun. Yeah, don't know. If I order it from somewhere else, I'm going to end up with 2 sets of fork legs because I can't even get a hold of these guys to query or cancel my order. And I would just write it off to, you know, COVID lockdown, you know, shipping problems and all that, but come on, man. That's nonsense. I've ordered stuff out of Japan even just recently, and I still get my stuff from Japan in 4 working days. So you're trying to tell me that these guys who are ordering stuff from Japan as a dealer can't get the stuff for 6 weeks? No, we're in the 7th week. It's almost 2 months. Anyway, I can be a griping complainer all I want, it's not going to fix it. So what I have to do is figure out a way to get a hold of these monkeys on the phone or by email or some type of real-time communication and say, hey, fill my order or credit me back and cancel this thing. Because it'd be just my luck. I'll order it through somebody else and I'll get the shipment notice that it's on the way, and then Bike Bandit will go, oh yeah, by the way, here's your stuff. I've used Bike Bandit for a long time. I tend to use Partzilla and a few others more often, but Bike Bandit beat everybody by a considerable margin. Like 283, I think, is what it was in a lot of places, and they were down to 236. So it was $50 difference, $100 for the set of legs. So I thought, I'll go that route. But I don't know, maybe you get what you pay for. Anyway, gonna be a whole lot of this, staring at the ass end of trucks for 2.5 hours. So I'll shut the camera down and record if there's anything interesting later. So yeah. It's a foggy morning out here towards Sealy. It hasn't burned off yet. I've swung through a couple of spots where it was really thick. Couldn't turn the camera on in time. I don't mind riding in the fog, you know, early mornings like this, as long as it's not dark. There's a little bit of daylight. It's a bit safer. I've ridden through crazy, just whiteout fog conditions on a bike before. Man, that is no fun. Absolute zero entertainment factor. White knuckle terror, you're like, oh crap, what's going to jump out in front of me? And when you hit these kind of things on the highway, there's no stopping. You don't stop on the highway on a bike. That's very risky. And, you know, whiteout, rainstorm, fog, snow, absolutely you don't stop. Nobody can see you and you're going to be punted right off the road. somewhere. I want to say I was in Missouri, and I was going through the area. It wasn't nighttime, but it was dusk, and a heavy fog had set in, and everything was just gray. I mean, solid gray. You couldn't see through it. You'd be lucky to stand 10 feet in front of the bike and see yourself. That's how bad it was. It was on a highway, you know, a little rural highway with lots of twists and turns and all that. And I was like, oh, this is just bad news. You can't really stop. If you stop, you're in trouble. I ended up finding a little gravel road, you know, forestry road or something, after a few miles, and I just parked and sat it out for a little while. And it didn't really get much better because then it was dark and foggy. The fog kind of lifted a little bit. End up in some weird situations on bikes sometimes. Still there if that would. So today's commute is going to be 550 mile commute day, or whatever it is, 500 miles. And reminds me of my serious mile days when I used to go back and forth to Oklahoma all the time, Houston to Austin almost daily. A whole lot of riding. That's when I put down about 1 million miles in 6.5 years or so. 150,000 a year. Most of it on bikes. I burned through some bikes during that time, I'll tell you. I had 3 or 4 bikes concurrently, but you know, I kind of spread the mileage out. I had an FJ 1100, I had a Goldwing, I had a Kawasaki Concours. I never did get any of the BMWs, like the RTs or any of that. I thought about it a few times, but I know that their maintenance intervals are a little expensive. They go a long time, they'll run forever, but they're a little expensive to maintain compared to the Japanese bikes. So I didn't ever get one of those, but man, I burned through serious miles. I killed 2 Goldwings, and when I say killed, I didn't destroy them, I just ran them into the ground. 120, 130,000 miles. So 2 Goldwings, FJ 1100, FJ 1200, Concours. I got a ZX10. That was really a nice road bike. It was fun, not a road bike. What else did I kill? Had a couple of Harley Sportsters, little 883s. Put about 40,000 on each of those. And I was pounding out some miles. I got so tired of going into the shops to change tires and do maintenance and stuff like that I just got the equipment and did it myself. I got one of those tire rigs with the lever that helps you spin and pop the bead off the rim and all that, instead of using the tire lever, tire spoon approach. Do that on a few of those big cruiser tires more than once, and it's like, I'm going to pay somebody to do this, or I'm buying the right equipment. And when you're putting down that number of miles, most bikes, sport bikes, performance bikes, any heavy bikes, you can figure you're only going to get about maybe 6,000 to 8,000 out of that rear tire. 6 is going to average, 8 if you're nice to it. I can't remember getting more than about 10. I might have gotten almost 12 out of one of my Goldwings. It's a Continental that I had on there that was pretty hard compound. It wasn't real good in the wet, but it had a pretty long tread life to it. But yeah, you figure you're swapping through tires every 10,000 miles on the rear, you can get 15 to 20 out of the fronts usually if you're not riding real hard. So that's a lot of tire changes. In that respect, cars are a little more efficient because you can get 60 to 80,000 out of good set of radios on a car, but at the same time you're burning through a whole lot more fuel usually. I just figured bikes were a more fun way to grind out all those miles. I enjoy riding, so it just seemed like a natural fit. Maintenance probably came out to a wash, you know, as far as comparing gas mileage, but it might still be cheaper gas mileage side for a bike. Most of my bikes, the big ones, they were getting 40-ish miles to the gallon on the highway. So some of them were getting more than that. I figure about 40 miles to the gallon. Most of the cars that I was driving back then in the mid-90s, lucky to get 22 to 25 out of them on the highway, so almost double the fuel for a bike. It's a whole lot of money in gas too. I used to think back on that and go, God, why did I spend so much on fuel? Well, I was making money, I was paying for the fuel, so it wasn't really that big a deal. But if you think about it in aggregate, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on fuel. It's crazy numbers. I never did total up the cost of all my tires and chains and normal bike maintenance stuff. Most of my bigger bikes that I was pounding out the serious miles, they were shaft drives, so very little maintenance in terms of the drive line. Change out your final drive oil every 15 to 20,000. Change your engine oil, check your coolant, and keep on riding. It's pretty rare for me to go through brakes. I mean, obviously I put a couple of sets of brake pads on each of those bikes over their tenure, but doing all the highway riding, I'm really not in and out of the brakes that often. Check out the sunrise in my mirror. Try to put the camera over here, look at the road. Some of the trees in the way right when I start recording. Really neat looking coming up over there. Beautiful sunrise. Wow, the fog is really thick out here toward Luling. This is thick. Past sunrise, so you'd think it would burn off, but man, this is less than 8 mile visibility here. You can't even see the road signs until they pop out of the fog 100 feet in front of you. Pretty foggy day. A few miles back the highway, it was totally clear. Wow. There's trees there. This is some thick fog. As I was coming off the highway, you couldn't even see this love sign right here at all. Wow. So I'm stopping at Buc-ee's for fuel. Stretch my legs. I've been on the road about an hour and a half or so. Bike's not empty yet. I could still run another 60 or 70 miles, I'm sure. But I'm getting hungry. So fuel up, fill up the bike and my belly, and get back on the road. I'm going to put on my over jacket too, because it's a little chilly with this fog and the mist and all that. Temps are in the high 50s. It's a little chilly. I'm cold. My joints are stiff. I haven't used the clutch in an hour and a half, and my hands are pretty cold from this foggy, misty stuff. I'm going to squeeze the lever and my fingers aren't working. That pump no worky. That pump no worky. Well, it works. All right then. Fill up. Get out of everybody's way. Bam. Okay, so it's breakfast time. Sit here and eat off the bike. But first, I'm going to get it up on the center stand. So I've got a flatter table. All right. So this morning's breakfast choices are a sausage, egg, and cheese croissant and a brisket and egg taco. Ooh, I'm getting into that one first. And of course, orange juice. So here we go. Feel like I'm camping. And that's my usual routine for my trash bags. Double use rack. I had my Shad, the SH23 little box panniers on here this morning, but I thought, no, I'm not carrying anything in the side panniers today. I've just got my laptop in the back, and I don't want those panniers hanging off the sides, slowing down my progress on the highway. All right, so what do they have for me here? Oh, yeah, well, not the greatest looking spread of eggs there, but hey, it'll work. They had a monster taco in there that was like 4 of these put together. It's huge. I couldn't eat that. So anyway, there we go. Okay, well, breakfast is done. Filled up the bike. Now it's back on the road. Yeah, so I still had plenty of fuel in the tank. It only took 2.5 gallons, so this is a 4.5 gallon tank, so it still had 2 gallons in it. I had another 100 and some miles in there to go. Quite all right though. I needed to stop and stretch my legs and put on this rain over jacket because, oh boy, it's nippy out here this morning with fog and mist and all that. I'm shivering right now because I just drank cold orange juice and I think the temps are probably maybe barely 60 degrees, 58 to 60, something like that. Fog and the mist and all that. Just mesh gloves and a mesh jacket. Ooh, getting chilly. I like my cruise control here. Really don't like this Kyoko. So $180, not well spent in my opinion. Little Go Cruise are so much easier because you just roll them and flip your finger down, push them down to hold, and then if you need to roll on, you just roll and let go, and it snaps back to where it was. With these, you got friction going both directions. But sure very good. The ride back from San Antonio today should be nice though. Mid-80s. This weather for riding. This morning it's a little chilly. Camera down. You can really listen to my teeth chattering. Okay, well, arriving here in downtown San Antonio, decided to skip the big loops and take the surface streets on the way in. I'm on Commerce Street right now, I think it is. Houston Street, something like that. It was Commerce, turned to Houston, something. And hey, just gotta stop. Coming up here and gonna turn left and into the downtown area. I don't know downtown San Antonio at all. I lived here for 6 months off and on, majority of about 4 months of that for work. I had an apartment, but never really got familiar with the downtown area. So this is Houston that I'm on. It was Commerce earlier. I guess it changed. Nice busted crossing arm there. Whee, big bumps. Holy Jesus, I'm off-roading. But that second set is nasty. About an 8-inch drop right there. Sure, there have been a few cars bottom out over that thing. Here's the Alamo. We came through here, Nick and I came through here a little while back, and it was closed, barricaded up because they didn't want the protesters and all the nonsense going on to damage the monument, so they walled it off. Electric scooters everywhere. Doesn't look too steady on that thing. I'm just following the GPS. I have no idea where it's taking me. It seems a little silly, this route, but okay. I will say their buses here in San Antonio look cleaner, and something about the structure of it looks a little more organized than the way it is in Houston. God, Houston's mass transit is a joke. What you doing, fella? Middle of 2 lanes, diagonal, just go round and around any old direction you want to go, I guess. What the hell are you people doing? Oh my God. All right, well, it's about noon 30, something like that, Wednesday, and finished up my little on-site visit here. That was something that definitely couldn't have been explained over the phone. They moved into this suite about 12 or so years ago, and the office was already wired, so what we did is we just used the existing wiring location, which was in a really silly place. It's up above the ceiling, back in the corner of the office. There's already a shelf up there, so we just put a switch and a UPS and ran all the office connections there, but their little server closet is not in the same place, obviously. It's in another room halfway down the building. So we just had tie lines going between the little upstairs, or the switch up in the ceiling and that server room. So anyway, the switch and UPS and that little thing above the ceiling is what died, so they were never going to figure out where that was or how to fix it. So I'm going to figure out which way I want to go home. Where to go home. And give me some interesting twisties. Excuse me. 3 hours, 184 miles. That's if I don't go all the way back to the office, which I did this morning. Where's my twisty routing option? Darn it. Normally when you put in a destination, you get the option for twisty. Oops, and I hear somebody ringing me in my pocket. Wait, don't drop the bike. That's gravel right over here. Yeah, it's the wifey. Hey, babe. Can you hear me? It's good. I don't have my headset on, so I'm just talking to you on speaker. Give me a second. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, I fixed the problem. I'm just starting back home right now, actually. I'm looking at my route and taking a look. So. Make the hokumboli, because that keeps well. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to get on the road, so I'll be there in about 3 hours. 3-ish, yeah. Just, I'm not really sure about timing. It just kind of depends on the traffic and everything. So. Okay, love you. Bye. Still haven't figured out all the nuances to this silly Garmin yet. Normally when you plug in a destination, it gives you the twisty routing option or just go. But if you tell it go home, it's not giving any option. So, I mean, there's not really many twisty roads between here and Houston anyway. It's I-10 all the way. Excuse me. So, it's all right. Oh, I'm supposed to turn on Vance Jackson. Hey, maybe it is going to take me that way. If this guy's going to go, I will go that way. Let's take Vance Jackson. Normally I'd just head straight up that way and hit the highway. Maybe it's got more entertainment in store for me. I didn't tell it to do twisty routing though, so I have no idea what it's up to. I'll just see what it does. Not in any real hurry to get back, other than I just don't want to waste 2 hours of my day for a wild goose chase down a dirt road like it did to me one other time. Actually, it wasn't this one, it was the 396 that did that. Weather's great right now. It's about 80, high 70s, low 80s. It's pretty dry. Feels good. It's kind of steamy when you're sitting still, but as soon as you get rolling, the air is nice and cool. On my way into town, I hit a couple of bumps and I heard some scraping, grinding. And when I was stopped a minute ago back there at the client site, I looked and my Puig fender eliminator, not tail tidies, just the fender eliminator, and the splash guard. I've never liked that thing, and I like it even less today because it's cracked through in several places, and the whole chain guard arm that goes along the top of the chain is just floppy. It's always been that way, but now it's broken in a few places, and it's actually drooping when I hit a big enough bump and dragging the chain. So I'm just waiting for the next giant bump to break that thing and send it into the back of my leg. It's going to be fun. Could just break it off now preemptively, but if it'll hold together until I get back home, I'll see if I can tweak it, reinforce the back of it with some ABS cement and a chunk of ABS plastic and firm it up or whatever. But man, it's just it was 160 or 170 bucks for that wheel tidy, whatever you want to call it, and man, I don't like it. Never did. Really flimsy. So I'll probably pull this one off when I get home and put the factory chain guard back on. Problem with that is there's no splash guard, which was kind of the reason that I got that Puig unit. Are you going? Nope, I'm not waiting on you. I got people behind me, Jim. Anyway, the factory chain guard, there's no wheel protector front mudguard for that rear tire. So it sprays a lot of crap up into your shock and swing arm and up under your seat and all that. So this Puig unit kind of helped calm that down a little bit. Too bad it's too flimsy to last. And I looked around, I did a bunch of searches for the CB500F and the X to see if there were other manufacturers that were making the wheel hugger. That's what it's called. That's what I was looking for, a wheel hugger. Chain guard wheel hugger combo. And man, that's the only one I could find was Puig. So if anybody knows of another brand out there that fits these bikes, let me know in the comments. What I ended up doing on my 500F is I got a R&G shock protector. It's a shock tube. So it's just like a neoprene sleeve that you fit over your rear spring and shock to keep the grit out of it. It doesn't do anything for the wheel overspray, but at least something to help the shock survive all the grit and crap that get thrown at it. And again, I ride my bikes in all weather. It doesn't matter whether it's sunny or raining, or I try not to ride in the ice and the snow, but I ride in all conditions. So I've had people say, well, why are you doing this, or why are you doing that? Because you drive through that puddle right there. Dude, you've got like the slowest reaction times in the world. Traffic here in San Antonio is just a little odd to me. I don't know why. People are just making really silly decisions, like not thinking things through, more so than used to. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I ride in all weather, and you ride through a puddle, irrigation, coming off of somebody's yard or whatever, you're gonna get water spray all over you. People don't get it. I guess they don't care, because if they're just out riding, maybe they're just doing fun rides or something instead of commuting and long distance rides. I do it all. Okay, well, home again. So 3-something in the afternoon, and I'm back. Another day gone, but at least I still have a little bit of the afternoon to do something with. What you doing there, fella? Alright, well, thank you all for tagging along, and I will catch you on the next installment. I'm going to start doing some maintenance on this bike and a couple of my others, so I might do some wrench series.